guys, we're back. I just logged in for the morning, did my morning prayers, and Jan's over there working on stuff, and I forgot that I was supposed to be in charge of youth group last night. So, but not to worry. I was able to cover really well because I promised the kids something fun anyway. So I went and I grabbed some root beer and some vanilla ice cream, and we watched Thunderball together. So yeah, that was great stuff. You know, this is true. This is a great time to bring this up because when Netflix added all 25 James Bond movies, they put them in like the little the pane. They said classic British literature, and so yeah, see, I've just been studying classic British literature the last couple days, and for future use in future sermons. This has been sermon prep, everybody. I've just been reading some classic British literature to work into you know, my continuing education credits, if you will. You hear that, Jan? If anybody asks, I'm not watching movies. I'm enjoying classic British literature. And yeah, that's what you should tell them. And by the way, that pane had all 25 James Bond movies. And then it had Pride and Prejudice. And then Frankenstein. That was what was in that pane. 27 movies that Netflix has that are classic British literature. The 25 James Bond movies, less than half which are actually based off the Ian Fleming novels, and Frankenstein and Pride and Prejudice. So there you go. So yesterday, last night, I introduced the teens to some classic British literature, and let me tell you, they loved this movie. They adored. They were wanting to watch other James Bond movie with me by the night's end. Yeah. What's that, Jan? Whatever. Your grandson doesn't know a good movie if your grandson likes Transformers. Yeah, well, Jan's grandson didn't like it, but he's a dweeb. You know who did like it? You know who did like it was Max. Yeah, we have a kid in our youth group named Max, and he loved every single minute of it. What, Jan? Just stop. What? No, he didn't just pretend to like it because he's a suck-up. Jan can be mean, guys. He actually liked it. No, I was going to scholarship him to camp anyway. Just work on your stuff. Stop. Anyway, they loved it. And what's not to love about this movie? Well, I mean, it's not my favorite James Bond movie. I mean, it's one of those that's kind of there and things happen. You know, it's a hard to follow Goldfinger. You know, what do? I do appreciate that they kind of still stuck to the novel on this one. They could have just done a Goldfinger repeat, but they didn't. They kind of went back to the novel. You know, it's another Bond movie that's kind of adequately put together, and there's some good chases in there, some good gadgets in there. One of my favorite stories about this movie is true, you could look this up, is James Bond has a device that's supposed to be kind of pulling the oxygen and the hydrogen and the water apart so James Bond can breathe underwater. That is something scientists have worked on for decades, if not the last century. It's feasibly possible, like it should be possible on paper, but it's just really hard to pull that off a device that's that big. So they have a fictional kind of fantastical device that he's holding in his mouth to breathe underwater. And I've told that some university professor that was working on this somewhere in the country got all excited, and he wrote to Sean Connery and the director of this movie and said, "How did you do it? How'd you figure this out? I'm really close." He wasn't close at all. And they wrote back, they said, Sean Connery just held his breath. And so he really believed. That's the power of cinema, guys. See, classic British literature makes you believe that the theoretical is possible. And so 2026, we still don't have that, 60 years after this movie, we still don't have that device. How cool would it be if they did, though? Oh, man. So, the rest of this movie, what can I say? Except it's good. It's there, and it was fun watching it with the teens. I mean, they mostly slept through it. I mostly slept through it. The underwater stuff's cool. For its time, it was really groundbreaking. Now, it hasn't aged all that well. Thunderball himself was a decent villain. This is another downward sloping Bond movie, I feel. I feel like it starts off really good and just kind of gets worse, but it doesn't go off a cliff like other movies do, like Die Another Day. But it stays, or No Time to Die for that matter, but it stays good. It's just a good 60s spy caper. And so, yeah, so 3 left, guys. I could do this. I can't remember which 3 I have left, but I'm sure they'll be good. I gotta go watch these videos and figure out which 3 I haven't watched yet, because Netflix is just, they're replaying ones I've already watched. So anyway, on to the next. Good morning, everybody.